till yours. Stand back and watch it grow, like a farmer does. Shine my light, I cry my rain, I fight away all your tears and pain. And I'm waiting for you to come around, and I hold my ground. Waiting for you to come around, and I hold my ground. Waiting for you to come around, and I hold my ground.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
If you go to Disney World, for instance, down there in the Haunted Mansion, you see the hologram, right? Oh, you know how to make a hologram. Well, our scientists have learned how to make people. They call them synthetics.
Mononuclear reproduction. Cloning.
I'm very, very pleased to announce that the first baby clone is born. She was born yesterday at 11:55 a.m. She's fine. We call her Eve.
I think cloning humans is inherently a bad idea for sort of, if I may, evolutionary biological reasons.
If it's possible that Brigitte Bachelier and unknown scientists, unknown obstetricians and others in an unknown country were able to successfully give birth to Eve without the kind of hundreds and hundreds of mistakes that we saw, mistakes and medical problems that we saw with the birth of Dolly and other cloned animals, then I think that suggests that we may be entering a new world in which just about anyone can make a clone.
The synthetics, when you touch their skin, it feels like plastic almost. That's the latest technique. All I need to do is take 2 cells off of your body. We give them a small electrical charge. I'm just don't act like a fertilized egg. If I got a fertilized egg, all I need is a receiver in order to make it. So they were hypnotizing women, you know, said they were being invaded by aliens. And the fetus starts growing, right? Needs food. Well, they can use cows and sheep, too. Again, a food source. That's all we need. After about 14 weeks, all of a sudden, that fetus is gone. Because they've learned to take, that's when the fetus starts developing its own blood supply. Then they've used a pituitary hormone extract that they have, which accelerates the being that grows. Even Hitler had he had his stand. In fact, his stand-in was the one that they found in the ground over in Germany. I mean, Hitler and Eva and the dog and 14 other people got aboard a plane and flew down to Barcelona, Spain. You were aware of that. And then ended up in Antarctica or in Swabenland, and then died a few years ago in Brazil. I have all the documents from our own government. Stalin asked for they tried to burn the body, and he got the body back, and he said, wait a minute, different ears, and the testicles were different and everything else, so they knew it wasn't Hitler.
Ruins have been uncovered in Argentina, but they're not from an ancient civilization. They're reportedly connected with the Nazi regime. According to an article in the New Zealand Herald, a secret bunker was found which appears to have been planned for members of the Nazi Party to use as a hideout after losing the war and fleeing to South America.
Since 1938, they've been making clone people. There's 8 countries making clones. If I start talking about cloning too much, the people that get involved into that you disappear on it. So I don't go into too many more details.
First, I wanted to tell you about the cloning stuff, okay? Now, human cloning, I have to tell you, it's been done since at the end of World War II, okay? It's like a secret thing among the elite. They use it for their crazy stuff, you name it. They've done.
Hitler went with funding the Ahnenerbe Society with the intention of finding hidden technology.
Himmler's esotericism far surpassed even that of Hitler. Together with Hermann Wirth and Walter Darre, Himmler founded the SS Ahnenerbe, whose full name in German translates as Research Society for the Primordial History of the Spirit. The SS was the most elite military-industrial institution in Nazi Germany, and the Ahnenerbe was its highest-level think tank. The organization's twofold purpose was, one, to launch archaeological and ethnographic expeditions in search of the Atlantean origin and worldwide influence of the Aryan race, and two, scientific research into the paranormal, with a view to weaponization of psychic abilities.
Then Hitler reportedly meets famed astrologer Erich Jan Hanussen.
Within 30 days, because of a series of political negotiations that are taking place behind the scene, suddenly Hitler finds himself Chancellor of Germany on January 30th, 1933. Hanussen's prediction, an impossibly optimistic prediction, comes true to the day.
Whether Hanussen read the future or had an inside tip, no one can say. Once in command, the Nazis consolidate power and eliminate rivals. Among the casualties are astrologers, mystics, and occultists who helped Hitler on his rise to power.
That existed throughout the ages. They basically have virtually unlimited funding and political power.
Like technology on Earth that is 5,000 years old. You know, they have technology way in advance of the technology that we have today. There's the Nazca lines, you know, it's like a giant geoglyphs. You can only see them from the sky. There's no way that could have been put there.
What the recent tech they've been working on, what they've gotten up to this far is, they call it the soul stealer technology, the soul catcher. It, with a 4D, four-dimensional map of the brain, they can create a holographic chip that contains all the information of a person's memories of their personality.
The way that this cloning works, okay, there's two different kinds of cloning and it confuses people. Now there's replication cloning where it comes up as a baby, right? Put the cells in, make the same person as a baby. Well, there's duplication cloning as well where they grow you in a big thick tank full of water.
DNA replication and the complete mind-brain mapping to create a chip is basically a four-dimensional map of the entire brain and central nervous system and body. And with that, they can do full-on replication cloning where they completely recreate a human form.
The only thing is, sometimes you have glitches in it, so you have to have them tuned up occasionally or redone. And so we take them to Camp David, or there's a wing at Bethesda Hospital to just tell you. If you go down there and check, you'll find the nurses, if they're willing to come forth, they'll tell you they work on those people, and they call them the others. I thought it was interesting. They're people. Remember, these people can think and act, but they don't have soul. That's also prophesized.
They can also, if they apply a constant electronic current to your clone, you will have an aneurysm. If you're younger, it'll take a little bit longer with the electric current. They're in deep bases, right? Like there's a Dulce or a Dulce base. It has an entire floor devoted to cloning, okay? Now it also has another floor devoted to gene splicing. You should see some of the stuff I've seen. Yeah, Queen Elizabeth had me serenading her because she thinks she's really special. She's pretty insane, by the way, by 5 different ways. She rules this cloning station, basically. Her and Vladimir Putin, they have warehouses underground with them growing people, right? And, oh man, it's very heavy.
Hello, my name's Phil, and guess what? Human cloning's real. Yep. Ram-face cloning is real. And every time I go to sleep now, they're messing with me. Doing this video on behalf of Donald Marshall. He needs help. He's in a much worse situation than I am.
Most of the leaders from the G20 countries go there, about 14 of the G20 countries, and then there's leaders from countries that don't even fit in the G20 that go there too. Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street is based on this. Avatar is based on this too. You open up your eyes there, you're like, where the hell am I? And you look at your hands, you're like, did you guys kidnap me? That's what most people say. Am I kidnapped or something? How did I get here?
You just can't believe it. All he's trying to do is inform people, and they just brushed it off like it's nothing. No one else is going to tell you this stuff. They're too scared. Politicians, celebrities, musicians, they're not going to say anything. It's going to have to be the regular people, just normal people, sharing information.
This guy is the biggest whistleblower that you will ever encounter in your vida, which means life. Okay, who is this person? Donald Marshall. Have you seen what he's been saying? If you have no idea who I'm talking about, go to DonaldMarshallRevolution.com. I believe it was early December 2011. That's when he came on the scene. But if you've seen the short cartoon animation called I Pet Goat 2, that came out roughly around the same time Donald Marshall came to the scene. And there is a lot of occultic, esoteric information in there. What's going on is that people have been wanting someone like Donald Marshall to come out and start speaking the truth, but everybody is just too scared to do it themselves. So they just pass the torch on to him. And in that video, that's pretty much what goes on. The person like that Jesus look-alike in that video is like supposed to be Donald Marshall, because the people that are cowards that don't like to come out and tell you the truth, they see him as a savior because, oh, he has the cojones to actually say what's happening. When we all should be doing this, not just Donald Marshall. He's already done enough.
Hey, what's up? My name is Phoebe. I would like to make this video because I would like to share my experience and my emotions and everything that I went through when I had my awakening. And an awakening is when you see what the government and when you see what people are hiding from you. I don't really even know what I was doing at the time to like even start looking it up. I think I seen like it popped up on my YouTube feed, something, I can't remember. I think it was like Gucci Mane clone or something. And I kind of ignored it. And then I'm like, let me look up cloning, so I did. And I came across Donald Marshall. They started calling him whistleblower. When you hear whistleblower, it's like someone who's like, trying to cash in for money or, whatever. But I ended up watching it anyways. And when I watched it, it blew my fucking mind. I was not expecting it. I was not expecting it to like open my eyes. I was not expecting it to show me what it showed me. He spoke about cloning. He spoke about the government being ran by higher powers. He spoke about like just so much. And I ask that you guys go and look this man up and have an open mind to what he's saying. I'm not telling you to believe everything he says because, his word may not be for everyone. But I ask that you guys go watch his video. But it blew my mind, so just please go watch it and please wake up, maybe. I don't know.
Good evening. I'm looking at some of these cloning thing, and there's cloning, there's synthetics, there's robotoids, there's brain chips and all this stuff, and male to female transformation using makeup, and robot looking females. Like, it's just insane. Basically, we live at a time where so many things are possible, and yet so many things could also be an imagination of demons. And I personally, and you can try to rationalize it, but I do not sense in my spirit that the cloning process is really as advanced as they say they are. Okay, I just don't think that they can, if you have a human body, a human being that is cloned, and you clone that human being, because you have a different egg white to the egg yolk, there's a lot of things that are not going to stick together. It's like it's not the right kind of glue. Most of these cloning, if they are being done, which they are, I mean, we clone all our food. Bananas are cloned, strawberries are cloned, you name it, we've cloned it. Especially in the vegetation, and we accept this because that's how fruits are sellable if they have uniformity. Most of the Dole bananas that we're eating are cloned. And that's why, it's few and far. When you get those organic ones, they'll rot really easy because all the cloned ones are genetically manipulated so that they have stronger covering and they don't rot really quick. There's preservatives placed on so much food as well, and it's quite fascinating to me how a lot of people are obsessed with this whole cloning thing, but they just give you a movie version of it. Nobody's ever taken photos of the real place for the cloning business. Okay, so the satanic ritual abuse, those things has been happening for many years. But the cloning most likely will produce a lot of deficiency. I think we're more likely using human imposters and then tweaking their face to look like, let's say, Kanye West. You take an African American looking god that looks a little bit like Kanye West, you pay this person and you can have that face, and this person has the ability to mimic.
And I feel as though, like on these TV shows and stuff, they be putting subliminal messages as that. And Bruce Wayne in Gotham, he was kidnapped and then cloned. I'm not saying that's what's going on. It's possible. I ain't putting nothing. I ain't saying the government is not able to do things like that. You know what I mean?
This is Fleur Room coming to you today to discuss another topic of discussion, because I just wanted to talk about the cloning process and the cloning centers that they have all around. There's probably so many cloning centers I couldn't possibly fathom. But I did go to a cloning center, and I will tell you, family, they're cloning everyone. Before I used to think, yeah, they're intricately cloning specific political figures, which makes sense, so they can, control the aspect of what goes on a governmental level. Obviously, we've all heard of them cloning of these celebrities, which we know happens regularly. But I had no clue to the degree of the cloning process and how many regular people, they're cloning and replacing.
I'll tell you where I know Donald Marshall from. In about 1999, I was going to church a lot. And I was in this church, and I was really into Jesus and into going to church, and I was very Christian and everything, and I was feeling good about it. And at night, when I was sleeping, I would have dreams about walking with Jesus. At the time, it was natural, it felt normal, and because I figured it was all part of the whole thing, And then at some point, something told me that I was going to have to face the devil, and I was like, what the hell? Like, why am I feeling this? Kind of sort of in life, you feel like, oh, something's going to happen bad or whatever. But I felt like that, And of course, I thought it was a dream, but there I was in this place, and there was like this fog, and as the fog was clearing, I was looking, and I saw in front of me this dragon lizard thing, okay? It had wings. It looked like bat wings. Kind of looked like that if you look at the pictures of the entrance of the City of London, the dragons on the sign there, it kind of looked like that. I saw this thing, and this thing was looking down at me like it was just looking right at me. I swear to God, and it looked so powerful. I was just scared to death. And I started, at the time I was very into the Bible and stuff, and I started quoting, what was it? Behold, I give you power and authority over all the power of the enemy. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, this and that. And I started throwing these Bible verses and yelling. I was like, Jesus' name and this and that. And all of a sudden, next to me was Jesus. This person that I had been walking next to while I was having these dreams at night and sleeping, okay? And this guy, this was Donald Marshall. He looked exactly like the Donald Marshall that I saw in the Vinny Eastwood video. Which is how I recognized him, 15 years later, whatever. And so anyway, I'm yelling at this dragon. Donald Marshall comes out dressed as Jesus. I'm thinking it's Jesus. And all of a sudden, these two guys with hooded, they had these cloaks on, like dark black cloaks, and they had these short clubs. And one and the other, boom, 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 and he just went down. He had his hands like this, and he went down, and these guys were just banging on his head. And two guys were holding me at the same time, and I was screaming, Jesus, get up, Jesus, get up, Jesus, get up. And it freaked me out. It really freaked me out, to the point where I'd stop praying, and I couldn't pray no more because I saw Jesus getting beat to death, or what I thought was Jesus getting beat to death.
We're here talking about, it's not something I like doing, right, slagging somebody else off. But you want to say something about Donald Marshall. Now,
yes.
Now, just while we're on this,
yeah.
You say that Donald Marshall has seen me at a cloning facility, which is why we're doing this tape, folks, right? Because this is, I want to know what's going on. I haven't heard what's been said. I have no idea what you're going to say.
So he's been around, like I say, since 2012. He's talking about cloning, consciousness transfer, underground species, different Illuminati technology, basically. Now, he has claimed that he is basically being enslaved to create ideas for the elite for a long time, and that he goes to cloning centers when he goes to sleep, into REM sleep, where the consciousness is transferred into a clone, and through that, he then is in another body, and the technology exists. There's not a...
And it works.
That is something which exists. Now, I only know of that because, well, the understanding of science is something that we don't really have in the schooling system. It's not effective.
Yeah.
Right
Well,
now.
I mean, the British Telecom talked about this being the Soul Catcher program.
Exactly, because that's what
and
they...
it's called Soul Catcher.
Yeah.
My relationship with Donald Marshall, he has people who are around him and loyal to every little word that he says. He can make a false accusation about me, and I would be helpless to that false accusation. Some of you guys might know that Og Tellez, a lot of people shifted over from trusting Donald to trusting Og, and for me, I'm still left out of that whole equation. Like, even though I did an interview with Og, the whole thing, it's just silly how competitive people are about the issue of being a slave. It's the most frustrating thing in the world, and I know it's frustrating to Og, and I know it's frustrating to a number of people that I could list. Like, Donald Marshall is telling the truth. Most of the truth being told online is by these types of characters. Donald was on Skype himself, personally, with B.O.B., somebody who I have never even talked to. I've never even got a message back from B.O.B. Donald Skyped with B.O.B., and B.O.B. took Donald's testimony and told the entire world. And publications like GQ have written about B.O.B. and the cloning centers. Now, naturally, they made a joke out of it. But what happened as a result of that? Donald says B.O.B. is an agent, and anybody who talks about flat Earth is an agent. Now, that's lumping me in with B.O.B., somebody who he had personal conversations with over Skype. But because he shares a belief that I have, we're both agents. But that I think this is a real guy with real testimony, but he just doesn't have the inner strength, and he doesn't have the ability to be vulnerable about the stuff that he's ashamed of. I don't care if Donald gets more likes on his Facebook posts. That's called lateral movement. We need to reach new markets. We need to reach new audiences. We need to get new people who are actually really part of the cloning centers talking. And we need this to become a matter of public discourse. You have to get as many YouTube channels talking about it, or people publishing articles about it. And Donald has been tried and tested. B.O.B. went out. GQ published articles about the cloning centers, and Donald didn't do anything with it.
This again is Rudolf of Germany, the tall white alien. A fact which hasn't been known to mankind so far. The cloning of certain politicians, leaders of industry and religion. Of course, the cloning does not stop there. Many other people, public figures, as well as quite unknown, regular appearing people are clones. There are different cloning stations all around the world. But the Antarctic cloning station of the tall white aliens is the center of cloning for the most important people.
I have memories. I was in the arena, the very arena Donald Marshall talks about. I was tied up. They ripped my left arm clean off. I remember looking at it. And then I looked up, and to my surprise, I saw what looked like Og Tellys laughing in front of me as I was bleeding out.
Hello everyone, Vrillex here, from the YouTube channel Vrillex. These are my experiences. As for my experience with cloning centers, I personally am not sure if I have experiences from cloning centers. Listening or reading other people's accounts, I'm not convinced that what I experienced really correlates with other people's experiences of cloning centers. What I have experienced is an odd, reoccurring dream. Throughout my life, I never really retain my dreams, and I can't seem to remember anything once I wake up. About 5 years ago, I started experiencing the reoccurring dream. It didn't happen every night. It would normally be a couple weeks or sometimes months between occurrences. It was sporadic. There was no noticeable pattern or time frame to it. It lasted for a little over a year, occurring 8 to 10 times over that time span, and the dream never changed. So the dream that I kept experiencing goes as such. Now, it is a dream, so there isn't a solid beginning to the dream, if that makes sense. But when I become aware of my surrounding, I find myself in what looks like a cobblestone street. The stones are arranged in a circular pattern. It feels like an open area, however, no natural light seems to be present. I find myself in the center of this area, which is also filled by hooded figures. They all seem to be wearing a sort of sand-colored or almost flesh-colored cloaks or robes. They seem to be going about their business, conversing or performing medical tasks. I'm not sure exactly what they are doing. Initially, the hooded figures seem to not notice me, but something suddenly draws their attention to me, in droves. They stop what they are doing and start enclosing on me. Before I have a chance to react, I find myself literally surrounded by hooded figures. I never see any faces. I never hear any voices. They don't speak to me. They don't interact with me. They don't do anything to me. They just observe. They just look at me. Some, but not all of them, have some sort of symbol on the left side of their hood. The symbol looks sort of like a brown asterisk. I can never quite make out the symbol clearly. As for my connection to Donald Marshall and his accounts, I didn't come across Donald until maybe a year after I started my YouTube channel. I started my channel because I was noticing drastic changes in appearance and behavior of many celebrities, as well as questionable symbolism around these celebrities. My motive for creating the channel was to share what I was noticing, to see if anyone else was noticing what I was seeing, and ultimately to ask questions and hopefully make people start questioning things too. After gaining some support on my channel, I was approached by a member of a Donald Marshall Facebook group who told me I could be really helpful to their community and my channel could help them spread the message. I joined the community and offered my channel as a platform to Donald to, if he ever wanted, get his message out. But unfortunately, I was only ever met hostilely, not only from Donald, but from several of his followers. I was confused by the reaction. I was initially requested by someone to join the community. Although I remained in the group, I didn't really interact with anybody, and I just carried on with my channel. Other than a couple of snide remarks on some of my posts, that is really the extent of my interactions with Donald Marshall.
I'm doing a video discussing my cloning experiences, and I have 3 particular experiences that stood out the most in my dreams that's happening to people with their dreams, that they could be living out other lives and not be aware of it. Before the internet and before computers, I was having these experiences with being visited by strange people and going places that were weird, like a hockey rink a few times every few months. And I also had multiple weird dreams dealing with just being in strange places with people. Like, I would be with like a celebrity that I don't care much for, hanging out with them. And how many lives do I have? Do I have clones running around? Do I have someone that looks just like me running around? I don't know, but I really do believe that there is something to this cloning center stuff, because I'm having very vivid dreams of being multiple places, as if I were there. They could be taking regular people and cloning them just for shits and giggles, and I want to get to the bottom of this, because if they are doing things like this, I want to fight this thing, because it's not right what they're doing to people. That people are going crazy and getting sick because they have clones running around that is connected to their consciousness, and that's not right. Hey guys, it's Brooke here, and I just want to do a quick video. Something really weird is going on right now. Like, there's like a helicopter flying over this area, and my computer will not shut down. Let me just show you guys. I click shut down. Now take a look at what my computer does. Okay, now it wants to. Okay. I was like, this shit, now it wants to shut down. I tried 4 times for this to shut down. My computer's not shutting down, and there's a loud ass helicopter outside. I hope you guys can hear that. I don't know. I'm praying that that shit is not for me. You guys hear this shit? This has been happening every night around this time. Like, what in the world is going on? Now, I just keep trying to... This is the 4th time I try to shut down my computer, and this will not shut down. This has never happened before. And there's this loud-ass helicopter flying around at 12 o'clock at night. You see? It's 12:09 at night, and there's damn helicopters flying around. Now, I'm praying that that's not me, that they might be looking for someone. I'm not sure, but I am very, very nervous. I'm not really an important person or anybody. Like, I'm not important. I'm not a celebrity. But I just feel like every time I come out talking about cloning or talking about aliens all the time, this kind of shit just comes out of nowhere.
Hey, what's up, guys? Here to talk about cloning centers, Donald Marshall, a few other people too. Something kept telling me that every one of us that walk this place are cloned, and we just don't know it, I guess. But that's just something that I felt. Whether that's true or not, who knows, to be honest. But anyways, long story short, I did my own research, meditated, prayed about it, all that kind of stuff. Augie told me that he's seen me in the cloning centers. After hearing that, it kind of freaked me out, but made me more aware. It made me think, so I kept researching. And now, 2018, CES has come out with, well, they say it's for advertising for Altered Carbon on Netflix. And they had a body in there in a fucking amniotic sac, breathing. They're showing you the cortical stack that they will fucking put in your spine that holds your consciousness, and talking all smart, and this is how we're going to do this, and this is how you're going to have this sleeve, and this is how you're going to have this sleeve. All you people out there who think that shit is not real, Ask yourself this. How the fuck did they make up all that scientific stuff if it doesn't exist? That right there tells you that it exists. I'm sorry, but that's enough for me to believe. I don't care if President fucking Trump comes out here and tells me, oh, we're finally cloning humans. Nah, you don't have to tell me nothing. I'm already in. I already know. I mean, to keep it short.
The whole point with Donald Marshall and the celebrities is all real. It's actually very serious. I seen the same things.
Did you ever hear of Phil Schneider? He tried to do what I'm doing, but he didn't know the entirety.
The cloning is coming out. They've been doing it for so long now that companies are getting involved with supplying the goods and just handling it all, managing it. It's kind of mind-blowing. Since they have this consciousness technology, they're making an archive, basically, and they're basically drawing up everybody's neural information into the archive so that they can basically create a mirror image of reality and use that almost like a Noah's Ark in a way to achieve immortality.
farmer does. Shine my light, I cry my rain, I fight away all your tears and pain. And I'm waiting for you to come around, and I hold my ground. Waiting for you to come around, and I hold my ground. Waiting for you to come around, and I hold my ground. Changes can even scare the strong into feeling like all might be lost. I'll just keep singing my song, so you know that